Okay, we all know that Jews get away with shit in this country. Jewish people. Here in maybe even Israel, that's their shit. But here in America, we all complain that when Jews offend you, they have ways of getting away with shit because they're very slick and manipulative. Nobody knows how to catch them people at their best. They do have an anti-Semitic movement, and also the Holocaust they use as a weapon when they attack you. And if you say something about the Holocaust or something, they get very sensitive, right? You know how that shit goes, right? Okay, Jews in this country, Jewish people, who were Holocaust people supposed to be so innocent, are responsible for allowing and authorizing a lot of African Americans to get killed. Now, people say that the only white people that give black people a chance are Jews. It could be a little true in Hollywood, but there's another thing to it. There's a casualty rate that I'm going to say some shit. I think 75% of us are dead as African Americans as a way of Jewish people making that possible, allowing your parents and kind of helping Caribbean people have a real estate market because they just didn't like blacks. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you how I know that Jews, because of the death rate of blacks, whether it's COVID-19 or just in general, right? Okay, you remember TSS, the store? They had one in Brooklyn, I think on, not Linden, but I think it was Linden. And they had one in Hempstead, TSS, on Peninsula. What's the name of that street in Brooklyn, Jerry? It's right over East New York. Whatever, anyway, right? TSS. I think they called it the Times Square store, but it was called TSS. So, my friend was a deacon now, and another friend of ours named Peanut, you got Tyrone and Timothy, who worked at the pet department store of TSS. Terrence worked in another department, but not him. He worked across from that part. Right next to the pet department was the record store department. It was the way TSS was set up. Then you had your toy department, but everybody had their own whatever. But my boy Tyrone and Peanut worked in the fish, with fishes and stuff, and probably gerbils and shit, and fish tanks and stuff. They had a Jewish manager, a female woman, right, who was the manager. And the security was a man, these two black dudes, I forgot their name, right? So, when Tyrone and Peanut worked there, we can go there as friends and get $80 worth of shit, and they would ring us up for $1. My homeboys. We were always friends. But I think Timothy worked in the morning, and Tyrone worked at night. They had broken up their shifts, but they had the manager. Now, let me ask you a question. Like black people who symbolize inventory, right? Fish tanks, the fish. When your inventory is low, right? So low, but the cash registers don't add up to it. Who's suspicious? Who would get suspicious knowing that somebody's doing something around here that you can't help but to realize that things are being lost at an alarming rate? You can't help but to take notice of it. That's your African Americans, what I'm going through at Long Island Jewish Hospital, with this raid we got going on. The Jews think we don't know what they've been doing when they've been doing shit. The Nassau County Police, you guys have an inclination that black people are not aware that we were dwindling suddenly, and it don't make no sense anymore. But it's alarming. We can't help but to realize, and there's people out there who really do care, that you think are not capable of investigating your asses and getting you locked up. So you think about it. if you was Italian and your rate was it was diminished incredibly. You got to put a stop to that shit. You know it before you are extinct. You get it? So it's the same thing. And what happened was, them dudes had nothing to sell no fucking more, basically. And the Jewish lady had no choice, whether she liked it or not, to tell security, you got to look out for this department here. She don't want to lose her fucking job. And I was the one that got caught with $80 worth of shit. Where Tyrone rang me up for $1. And I got taken in the back room. They was ready to send me to the fucking jailhouse. Meanwhile, my father was out front. He didn't even know it happened. But the dude came in. His name was Smiley. That was his name. And he said to me that he gonna let me go because if it was white boys that did this to me, they would have sent my ass to jail. And that's how I said. But he said you can't come back here no more. We used to use CSS to kind of cut through it as a shortcut sometimes. We used to come from school. I don't know why we was doing it, but we considered that a shortcut. I don't think it really was, but then again, it might have been. You know what I mean? But still, that's how you know something is odd around this motherfucker. It becomes alarming. You personally know it. You can't help it. And then when that happens, you got to find some people to look into it. Why are these black people disappearing like this, like that? So federal government, you are under an internal investigation.